will be conducted by Prof. Dr. Omar Hassan Kasule on the topic of Islamic Epistemology and Integration of Knowledge, Aql and Naql. So before we proceed, I would like to give you a brief introduction about Prof. Omar Kasule. Prof. Omar Kasule is the Secretary General of the International Institute of Islamic Thought, IIIT, based in Riyadh and USA. Dr. Omar Kasule graduated from Uqair Medical School and subsequently obtained his PhD training in public health, including a doctorate in epidemiology in Harvard University. So before he worked as a professor of medicine in Malaysia for 10 years and a professor of medicine in Brunei for 4 years. Additionally, Prof. Kasule had obtained a certification in Arabic and Islamic study from Bilal Institute. So at present, he is the chairman of Institutional Review Board Research Ethics Committee and the chairman of the Ethics Committee at King Fahd Medical City since 2010. He is also a member of Ad Hoc Research Committee of the Ministry of Health and teaches research ethics and research methods in ministry organized workshops throughout the kingdom. So now let's welcome Professor Dr. Omar Hassan Kasule.
Yeah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. The main thrust of my presentation today is that tawhid is the basis for integration of knowledge. Tawhid means oneness of Allah, and it leads directly to the idea of integrating knowledge, integrating Aql and Naql. So I will be giving the evidence for that statement and giving you the whole background. First, let us see what is tawhid. There is what we call tawhid al-rububiyyah. Tawhid al-rububiyyah means there is only one creator. Everything created by one creator God. So the concept of tawhid al-rububiyyah is the center of Islam as a religion and as a civilization. There's only one creator. Now, so this means that if there is one creator, for the whole universe, then everything must be integrated, because if one person made everything, it means everything is connected to one another. This is where integration comes from. Now, Tawhid al-Rububiyyah is something that we know innately. Innate means something you know without being taught, because the alternative to say that the world was auto-created, that the world created itself and people created themselves, is not logical. Like if someone comes and says that this Mercedes-Benz car created itself, you tell him it's nonsense. It cannot have created itself. Somebody must have made it. But then how can you say that the universe and the animals and the sun and the moon created themselves? So Tawhid al-Rububiyyah is innate. We know it in an instinctive way. Also, the idea that there are several creators also is not logical, does not make sense. Because if there were several creators, this is what will happen. Okay? If I have an accident and I need blood, and then I was created by one God, and Dato was created by another God. So I cannot get blood from Dato because that one made his blood different from my blood. The fact that I can get blood from anyone is proof that the creator is one. Because if there were several creators, there will be a lot of confusion. That's why Quran tells us in Surah Al-Anbiya, لَوْ كَانَ فِيهِمَا آلِهَتَانِ لَفَسَدَتَا. If there were two gods in the world, everything would have been messed up. Okay. And the evidence of Tawhid al-Rububiyyah, that there is one creator, we see it in the cosmos, in the environment around us, and we see it even in our own bodies, the human body, as Surah Al-Anbiya tells us. So this is the concept of Tawhid al-Rububiyyah. I took time to explain it very well because the other things I'm going to say arise from this. Now, we have said there is one creator. As you know, the world consists of matter and energy. Everything is either matter or is energy, or a combination of the two. So there is one creator for all matter and for all energy. But also the creator created what we call sunan. These are laws. These are the laws that explain the relationship between things. Yeah? The relationship between things are governed by laws. For example, fire. Fire will burn you. If you put your finger in fire, your finger will be burned. So there is a law Allah created that this fire will burn the finger. It's a physical law. There is the law of gravity. You know, if you don't believe in gravity, go at the top of a high building and jump upwards. You cannot, you will fall down. So Allah created matter, energy, but also created laws that relate these things. These laws are physical. Some are physical, like the law of gravity, and some are social, as we shall see. So these laws are Sunan al-Ilahiyya in creation, is because everything was deliberately created. كل شيء خلقناه بقدر, as we learn in Surah Al-Qamar. So these laws are found in the human. Sunallah fi khalq al-insan. They are found in the cosmos. Sunanullah fil kawn wa fil afaq. And also, Allah has got physical laws to regulate social matters. Sunanullah fil umam. You know, for example, there are laws that govern our behavior, our interactions. Those also are created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Actually, when we do research, the purpose is to understand phenomena. Research, you want to understand matter. Energy, you want to understand electricity, you want to understand the atom, you want to understand the heart. But also you want to understand the laws that govern the interaction among things. Now, scientists actually focus their research on the laws of causality, the laws that explain how one thing causes the other. Like in medicine, our research is always, we see a disease and we want to see what caused it, the law of causality. We find a bacterium, we find the disease, and we see the relationship between them. That's the sunan, that's the law. So we study the relationship, the causality. Then what do? If we want to prevent the disease, we destroy that relationship. But sometimes the relationship is good. Like some bacteria in your stomach are actually good. They do good things. We want to keep them there. So the relationship, if it is good, we let it continue. If it is bad, we try to change it. So this is Allah's creation of things and the laws that govern how things relate to one another. Now, the physical laws, the laws that relate one thing to another are fixed, you know, and they're not, most of them are not under our control. Human beings, sometimes we get very proud that I can do what I want. Actually, you can do very little. Even on your body, you have very little control. Let us say, food. You can take nasi, put in your mouth. Okay, you say, I'm powerful, I can do what I want. But after you put it in the mouth, you have no control over it. The process of swallowing is automatic. It goes down the gullet to the stomach, the digestion. You don't even know what goes on there. So actually, most of the things in your body, you have no control over them. If your bladder is full, if your bladder is full, okay, you say, I will not go to the bathroom. Okay, we wait 1 hour. I will not go 2 hours. We will not go 3 hours. A time will come, whether you like it or not, you will go. Because you don't have control. Because there are laws that are fixed, that govern things. When the bladder is full, you have to go. So these laws are fixed. For example, the law of gravity. Everything, it falls downwards towards the earth. That's the law of gravity. It's fixed, cannot change. The laws of motion. The sun and the moon move around according to very precise, exact laws described by equations. They are fixed. Einstein's universal theory. Einstein developed a universal theory between matter and energy. It's also fixed. Allah talks about movement of cosmic bodies, movement of the sun and the moon, that they're exact and fixed. As when he says, وَالشَّمْسُ تَجْرِي مُسْتَقَرٍّ لَهَا ذَلِكَ تَقْدِيرُ الْعَزِيزِ الْعَلِيمِ وَالْقَمَرَ قَدَّرْنَاهَا مَنَازِلَ حَتَّى عَادَ كَالْعُرْجُونِ الْقَدِيمِ لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون. Quran says that the sun and the moon move in exact orbits. They don't interfere into one another. Day and night come, one does not come before the other. So Allah's physical laws are fixed. In the same way, Allah's social laws are fixed. Allah has got social laws. There's the law of marriage, that we shall marry, we shall have children. There is the law of social interaction. It's fixed. Actually, Allah created in such a way that human beings, when they look at one another, they may be very angry at one another. But when you look into someone's face, your anger decreases, whether you like or not. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, "La yahjur akhahu fawqa thalathin." If you fight a quarrel, don't be apart more than 3 days. Because when you meet, the anger decreases, whether you like it or not. So there are social laws that Allah made, as the Quran tells us in Surah Al-Isra, "Sunnatun man qad arsalna qablak, walan tajli sunnatna tahwila." These are sunnah, these are social laws. Also in Surah Al-Ahzab, Allah says the laws cannot deviate. Sunnatullah fil ladhina khalu min qabl, walan tajli sunnatillahi tabdila. Some of these laws act on societies. When there is corruption in a society, the society eventually has violence and poverty. It's a law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When there is truth and kindness, people are happy. So these are Allah's social laws. And these laws are also fixed. فَلَن تَجِدْ سُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا وَلَن تَجِدْ سُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَحْوِيلًا, as we know in Surah Fatir. So now we have seen that according to Tawhid al-Rububiyyah, Allah created everything, matter and energy. He also created physical laws that define the relationship among things, and also social laws. And these laws are fixed and they do not change. Now, the laws don't change, but things change. Like we grow older. Children grow older, they grow taller. The adults grow older, grow weaker, they get white hair. So things do change, but still the changes follow laws that Allah created. That's why Allah says, in terms of communities, Allah says change in a community إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah cannot change a community unless it itself changes. So if you're a happy community living in peace, when you become evil, Allah takes away the peace. Also, Allah changes communities with time. Things are not always the same. As Quran says, وَتِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ in Surah Al-Imran. There is also the law of action and reaction. You know, this law prevents corruption. You see, when there is a lot of evil, then good will arise. Some people say, no, it's too much evil. It has to stop. It is because of this action reaction that the world cannot all become corrupt. This is the law of tadafu. As Quran says in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ النَّاسِ بَعْضُهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ لَفَسَدَتِ الْأَرْضِ. If there was no action reaction, the world would have been completely messed up. So even when there are changes, those changes are governed by certain laws. The summary of all of this is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one creator. He created everything, and he created the relationships among things, also created the laws that govern changes. So if there is one creator, it means everything happening must be integrated. There must be a relationship. Now, knowledge is a way of understanding ourselves and the environment around us. So if everything is integrated, the knowledge that understands everything also must be integrated. That's why I say the concept of tawhid makes integration of knowledge an imperative. You must have integration of knowledge because there is tawhid. Now, all disciplines of knowledge must be integrated. Why? Because they are studying things made by the same creator who also made the same physical and social laws governing them. A long time ago, scholars actually were very integrated. Scholars used to be called encyclopedic, Ali Mawsu'i, because they used to know many disciplines at the same time. For example, Galileo Galilei, he was an astronomer, he was a physicist, he was an engineer, and he was a polymath. Ibn Sina was a doctor, physician, astronomer, and philosopher. So a long time ago, there was no problem about integration because the scholars, the ulama, were integrated anyway. They were already integrated in terms of knowing all disciplines of knowledge. But what happened? Specialization became necessary because as knowledge grew and expanded, one person couldn't know all the disciplines of knowledge. So people had to specialize in this discipline and that discipline. That is why we lost integration. See, things became disintegrated. Some people became experts in Quran and Hadith. Some became experts in physics and biology. And they no longer knew how to integrate them. This disintegration was good in that it enabled people to go deep in their discipline, but also lack of integration resulted into too many problems. Actually, our society today is suffering from this lack of integration. That is why we make progress in one area and then we go back in another area. In Malaysia, a long time ago, we had a very clean environment. The water was clean. You could get water from the spring, the river, and drink it. You never get sick. But then we made development in industry. So pollution came. But because when we are making industries, we didn't integrate that with the purity of the water, then we suddenly found ourselves with the problem of pollution. So this is what happens when there is no integration, when you do not look at the overall picture. So Islam calls for integration of knowledge, integration of disciplines. But this not only in Islam, even outside Islam, people realize that you cannot look at one discipline separate from the others. But now, this concept of integration, those of us who do mathematics, calculus, you know, integration is putting slices together. In normal language, the concept of integration actually means that there is disintegration. So the synonyms for integration are combination, amalgamation, incorporation. They all indicate that things were disintegrated. We need to put them together. So integration actually means you put together the sources of knowledge to solve a specific problem. That's why some people talk about a multidisciplinary approach. So integration is a phenomenon we need in life. But there is something more called Islamic integration of knowledge, because this one is in addition, that we are integrating wahy into other sources of knowledge. So actually, we used to talk about IOK, integration of knowledge. I think now we need to start talking about IIOK, Islamic integration of knowledge, to make the matters very clear. I will digress a little bit about this matter of integration. You see, the Islamic worldview arising from tawhid is integrative and synthetic. Muslims understand by looking at the whole picture, putting things together. We always try to integrate. We see the big picture. We focus on the big picture. But the European worldview, in my opinion, is analytic. The European mind understands by splitting things and knowing the details. So they are more detailed minded. Whereas for us, we look at the overall thing. I like eating soup écor, but sometimes I don't even know whether it was from a sheep or a goat. Because it's the overall thing that I look at. The details are not important. So our mind is more synthetic because of tawhid. We want to look at the whole and do not go into details. And that's why we fail in many things. You write a letter, okay, I understand what you want to say, but you put many spelling mistakes because you don't care about the details. You want to see the overall picture. So that's a cultural difference that you need to be aware of. You have a situation where you have a European nurse and a Muslim doctor. So the patient was supposed to come at 9 a.m. The doctor also was supposed to come at 9 a.m. Both of them are late. The patient comes at 10 a.m. The doctor comes at 10 a.m. Nobody waits for the other. So for them, there are two of them, they say there's no problem. Doctor says, I didn't wait. Patient says, I didn't wait. But the nurse is angry at both of them. She says, you were supposed to be at 9 o'clock. They said, look, madam, nobody suffered. Why are you getting angry? It's because for them, they look at the big picture, but she looks at the specific because their mind is analytic. Okay, I have talked about integration, general integration and Islamic integration. I also talked about the type of integration when the scholar is integrated. Like Ibn Rushd, he was a polymath, a philosopher, a theologian, a physician, and an astronomer, and a jurist. He knew everything. So you can achieve integration of the scholar, but this is now no longer possible because disciplines are very deep. Now, there is also what we call practical integration. There are some disciplines that cannot be separated, like geography and politics. So we have got a discipline of geopolitics. We have got industrial psychology because the two of them cannot be split. So that's practical integration. Then there is integration of the sources of knowledge. Okay, that when you have a problem, you use all sources of knowledge that are necessary. Now, there is what I mentioned before, IIOK, Islamic Integration of Knowledge. Besides integrating disciplines, this is integration of ilm naqli, the transmitted knowledge, with the ilm aqli, with the empirical rational knowledge. So this is the Islamic integration of knowledge that we talk about. It's part of all the integrations that are there. IIOK became important because of the secularization of the education system. That the education system took away wahy, revelation from knowledge. Now we have to reintegrate it back. So those are the types of integration that we have. So as we talk about IIOK, Islamic Integration of Knowledge, really, this is reintegration of wahy into epistemology. Wahy was there before. Our scholars were integrated before. They knew Quran, they also knew medicine. But with the time, this got separated. So when we talk about integration, we are reintegrating. We are bringing it back so that ilm naqli and ilm aqli can be integrated to understand the whole picture of knowledge. Now, there is actually no contradiction between ilm naqli, transmitted knowledge from Quran and Sunnah, and ilm aqli, which is human knowledge. There's no contradiction. If anybody says there is a contradiction, we say that contradiction is apparent. It looks like, but it's not real. Either the scientific observation was not done well, and you come and say this scientific fact contradicts Quran, or you don't understand the Quran yourself. You've got an intellectual deficiency. You don't understand ilm naqli very well. In a sense, there is no contradiction. Now, we talk about integrating knowledge, but we need to be aware that ilm naqli is needed exclusively for matters of ethics and morality. See, it is needed for certain matters. You cannot get ethics and morality from ilm aqli. Also, ilm naqli provides the conceptual background for science and technology. Issues about objectivity, al-istiqama, ethics, akhlaq, and purposiveness, ghaiyya. And I feel and want to propagate this idea that an integrated epistemology that has got ilm aqli and ilm naqli is the solution to the problem of duality in Muslim education. Because our education now is bifurcated into two types of knowledge, and that's not a healthy situation. Now, one of the things that have been done in Malaysia, in Bangladesh, in Uganda, in Tanzania, in South Africa, a little bit in Nigeria, that people are beginning to write teaching materials that emphasize IIOK, Islamic Integration of Knowledge. There are practical steps to follow in writing these. I don't think I will go through them. You can see, but what I'll do, I will show you some recent material of examples of integrated teaching materials. See, we don't want to talk about integration of knowledge as a philosophical concept. We want to talk about it as something practical, something real, something that happens. So we actually are writing this material. Just last month or the month before, in Malaysia, we did publish the following books. Now, this one is on accounting, auditing, and governance of Islamic financial institutions. So this is bringing the technology of accounting and auditing into Islamic finance. This is a book on creativity. Again, bring out the Islamic point of view. This is a book on research, combining the Islamic tradition of research into modern research methods. This is a book on marketing from an Islamic perspective. This is a book on social stratification and gender problems, again, looking at this from an Islamic perspective because they are now purely secular. And this is a book on sociology in Arabic. And this is a book on the history of Arabic literature. So really, we are not only talking theory, we are actually doing something. We are producing material. And when this material is used in teaching, slowly, we'll be able to change all the books used in universities and schools to books that have integration of ilm aqli and ilm naqli. So I will stop here. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prof, for such an interesting topic.